in like the way that people kind of rule the world or how it have evolved. Like I read this book on high school by Amy Chua, The Rise of an Empire. Diversity was definitely a huge player for every single empire or hyperpower that have existed, starting from the like the biggest one, like the Roman Empire or like the Persian Empire or the Mongolian. Those empires that pretty much controlled the world back then. And the reason of their success and the reason of their failure as well was because of diversity in a way. So the reason why they were able to grow like so much, it was because they were tolerant to the diversity that existed in the region, on the region that they conquered. This is a conversation between friends.
None of what is said here should be taken as legal advice.
We are not experts in any way.
Take what resonates and leave the rest.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Shots of Info, episode 84. We're back at it. Today's topic is the importance of diversity. So we're just going to take a look on diversity overall in all different aspects, not just one sector, and see how it has affected in our lives or how we have used it to our advantage to like grow, kind of have different perspectives of the world as well. So hit it. What do you think about diversity? Good, bad?
Sweet. Yeah, so the topic came up because I was listening to a podcast, and the topic of diversity came up in the form of just like human evolution, right? Or just evolution in general, not even human evolution. And one of the key components for the evolution of a species is diversity. Being able to adapt to different situations and kind of having genetic diversity to an extent that you don't even know if it's going to be beneficial long term. So one of the examples that was presented in the podcast was the extinction of the dinosaurs, right? So for a long time, it was genetically beneficial to be a dinosaur because, that's what ruled the planet. But at the end of the day, the thing that survived the longest was actually the cockroach. And that genetic diversity is kind of like, the bread and butter of our existence today. Us as humans, we're not necessarily the strongest of the species of, what's it called? You know what the species of apes are called? Or, shit, what is it called?
Well, what do you mean?
Homo sapiens. There we go. Homo sapiens. So we're not necessarily like, the strongest or like the absolute smartest of the Homos series, essentially. I took a whole anthropology class and now I can't remember shit. So there's that. There's that for your education. But in any case, in terms of being that type of species, we're not necessarily the best at anything, but the thing that gave us the most amount of benefit was the fact that we're able to be very diverse and we're able to easily adapt to situations. And that is what has led us to become the most dominant species on this planet, right? We're at a point now where we can literally modify our genome. We can genetically change the structures of our body or, the future generations such that there will likely not be any diseases anymore. Or, we're creating artificial intelligence, which may or may not wipe out humanity. We'll see. But again, this goes back to the topic of diversity. That is what has led us to this point today. So what do you got? What do you think?
Well, definitely diversity have played historically a huge role in like the way that people kind of rule the world or how it have evolved. Like I read this book on high school by Amy Chua, The Rise of an Empire. Diversity was definitely a huge player for every single empire or hyperpower that have existed, starting from the like the biggest one, like the Roman Empire or like the Persian Empire or the Mongolian. Those empires that pretty much controlled the world back then. And the reason of their success and the reason of their failure as well was because of diversity in a way. So the reason why they were able to grow like so much, it was because they were tolerant to the diversity that existed in the region, on the region that they conquered. So they were not forceful on like, hey, you gotta follow our religion, you gotta follow our cultures or traditions, but they were able to kind of be flexible and tolerant to the diversity that existed in their ground. And even looking at the United States, you can take a look. Like initially, it was a place of immigrants, and the reason why it was successful, it was one of the reasons was because of that. And as we have seen previously, more and more kind of segregation and racial segregations, and we see, or Amy Chua mentioned in the book that the end of the United States kingdom, or like the reign, being a superpower, hyperpower, it was getting over. And similar case happened to other empires as well, where they became less and less tolerant to the diversity and start pushing culture. For example, the Roman Empire, they start, forcing people to be Catholics, which, push people away. And eventually people are going to get discontent about those rules. So definitely it kind of led to the decline of their empire. So I think historically, yes, we need diversity in order to like surpass, because just thinking about on how things work, we need those creative mindsets. We need those diversity. And even now looking at certain companies, the reason that they like hiring diverse type of people, diverse type of talent, is because of the ideas that they bring to the company. Because of, everybody is going to think differently. Everybody has walked different paths of life, and that is going to have a huge impact on the success of anything, honestly. And but yes, so in my opinion, diversity has always been a huge kind of player for anything success, for the success of anything, honestly. But let's continue.
No, for sure. Where do you want to go from there? Because the next point that I wanted to jump to was maybe finance.
Yes, I was actually thinking of that too. So we are advocates to push into for a diverse portfolio, and we have like talk about the importance of diversity as well as the risk. Well, not risk, but at the same time, there is a dark side, in the sense that having it too diverse can affect the gains. Like it's gonna always uptrend. It's always gonna have an uptrend, but maybe the uptrend could be is lower than if you were to have a less diverse portfolio, right? So, but still, we are advocates to have a diverse portfolio. Like I personally invest on different sectors of the markets, as well as different, a new emerging technologies, as well at companies that I know in the future will have some sort of impact and grow as much as other companies had in the past. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, man. Again, like exactly how you put it, right? So there's such a thing as, being overly diverse, and there's such a thing as being underly diverse, where you have too many things in one or two sectors, or one or two baskets, and if those things fall through, boom, there goes everything. And again, that's taking it from the perspective of investing in stocks, but we can also diversify in finance in terms of different income streams, right? You never want to be relying on one form of income, simply because you never know when you might lose it. So the more things you have playing to your advantage, the better off you're going to be. But again, too much of a good thing can also be bad, because at the end of the day, what's up?
Can you do me a favor?
Finance. Right. So again, diversifying in terms of different income streams, because you never know when you might lose it. So do you have any ideas how to go about doing that?
Absolutely, yes. So there's different things that where you can start investing your money on early days. Now, I think the best investment that you can do, it will always be something that can automate itself in the long run, because ultimately there's only one of you, right? So you don't want to be part of have multiple streams of income that require a lot of your time, because then it just becomes, a little bit over stressful, and you're not going to enjoy the fruits of the hard work that you have put through it. So some of the best investments, in my opinion, it will always be houses, land. So just investing, buying pieces of land and then reselling them. They don't take too much time. It's not too like, what do you call it, stressful. houses. You can get some rental properties and eventually just hire somebody who can manage the houses for you. But same thing, you got to be a little bit careful about, trusting people and the money that it flows throughout that. Of course, the stocks is a really good one, but in the long term, that way you will not, like, automating your investment in the stock market or certain ETFs that historically have shown growth overall. And that way, from your paycheck, if you're still working from a paycheck, it goes automatically a certain percentage of it in invested for you. Barely, the work that you got to do is probably once a month to just double check diversification, maybe increase the position and stuff like that. But other than that, not much work involved on that. Rental properties, once again, at the beginning can be a little bit tough when you are kind of rebuilding or getting it ready for rentals. But once you get some, what do you call it, tenants, it becomes automatic, becomes pretty easy. Later, the other investment that I look into is land. So on other countries, maybe your home country, just buy pieces of land where you see uptrend or kind of potential for growth, and eventually if you just hold it. The only headache that you gotta go through is at the beginning, or once again, is getting signing the papers. But once you do that, 5-10 years is gonna like double, even not triple the money that you have put previously. And even you can put a little, build it, make the land work, rent it. There's so many options that you can do with a piece of land. And land is never going to be a bad investment, regardless of how much you pay for it. Another way that you can do it, I recently made an investment in a car, but the thing is that with that car, I want to kind of like rent it out to people like comes to visit. It's same thing. It might be a little bit work, but we will see how that goes. I think those are my top kind of investment that I'm looking at. Something that doesn't require me to be on or spending too much time on it, because at the end of the day, I still want to raise capital through my 9 to 5 job for now, and move on, and keep investing.
Right. So let me jump in on the other side, right? So you got the passive stuff. Mm-hmm. So let's go more towards active things, right? So a good way to help diversify your income on a more active basis is, well, getting a 9 to 5 job. That's good. You want to obviously try to focus in on things that you enjoy doing, or obviously the best combination is something you enjoy doing and that makes you a lot of money. But oftentimes you're rarely going to find that in a common 9 to 5 job. Most of the time, what you're going to have to do is find something that you enjoy, a passion or a hobby, and make that into a job. Make it into something where you can actually be profitable and make a lot of money from that. So how do you go about doing that? Well, first and foremost, you need to find whatever it is that you're good at or whatever it is that you enjoy doing. One good thing that you can do if you have no idea where the hell to begin is to just try different things, right? Like I can tell you from experience, so, personal training wasn't something that I was just going, like, this is what I'm going to do because this is the purpose of my life. It's just something that I just found me, right? I was looking for things to try, and this was just an opportunity that presented itself, and I tried it, and I liked it, and there's an opportunity to just scale here, right? So that's exactly what I did. I just kept scaling over time. And now I'm in a gym, and I've diversified my income streams in such a way where I'm a personal trainer, and simultaneously I like trading and investing in the stock market. And awesome, and in an awesome fashion is the point that I can kind of combine these two things, because they don't kind of intermingle. When it comes to stocks and investing, you can either be very active or very passive, like you mentioned, right? Same thing with the training, right? So if I'm active with my training, then I can be passive with my trading. Or flip it. If I'm passive with my training, then I can be more active on my trading. So that kind of there's a synchronous relationship there that makes it really easy to always be doing some type of work and always trying to make more money. That way you can, again, go into where you were talking about, going to a more passive approach with, investing, building businesses, which is another thing that, you can do with trying to build more passive income streams, right? Renting out properties, renting out assets like cars. Obviously, usually a car is a depreciating asset, but if you can make it into an appreciating asset or something that makes you money, that's great. That's one of the keys to making money, is just making sure that you have assets and appreciating assets over time.
Right.
So yeah, I think that about covers it. Let's not take up too much more time because apparently my client just got here and I don't want to be waiting for too long because it's a little late here.
All right. So another aspect that diversity can have a huge impact is on your personal life. So how do you think that has affected on your life? Maybe from like your friend groups, or maybe from like the classes that you took, or anything that was diverse that affected tremendously in your life.
Right. So I mean, diversity is in general, and in my life, has been very beneficial because again, just trying different things, that's diversity there. Having different friends or different friend groups that kind of just, encourage me to do different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our friendship here was something built on just us wanting to become better, right? And we found that commonality across the board. And then you have other friend groups that are more, let's say you play video games together or something like that. And that's, that's a very relaxing thing to do. That's a way to unwind, right? And that's a diverse aspect to just having friends. So I feel like diversity has definitely played a key role in just me developing as a person because it's been part of my life through its entirety.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Well, on my aspect, I think growing up, I didn't have that much of diversity because here in Cuenca, it's not as diverse as you would think about. But once I moved to the New York City, I truly got exposed to like diversity, like different type of peoples, and that truly kind of opened my mind to a different level. Like my first friend group over there, it was like a mix of Asians, Latinos, and Blacks, and it was pretty cool because most of them didn't speak English, and that actually forced me to learn English quicker, and pronounce myself a little bit better because I wanted to know what they're talking about. I wanted to be heard as well, and I needed to connect with the language. So that was really, I'm grateful for that. Later on, of course, New York City is one of the most diverse places that you can live in, and that's why I love it over there. But it definitely exposed me to certain things that I feel they live in such a diversity that they forget that there's a world out there. So that kind of pushes me to travel a lot, and that's why I love traveling, honestly, because I like to see what's out there. I like to kind of meet diverse people, see how their lifestyles, what is out there, how they think, how they live, what do they do, and stuff like that. And that pretty much just, I think, opens my mind to a different level and just helped me grow as well as a person. Being exposed to such a diversity definitely helps me to be, kind of more empathetic to others. And yeah, I think overall it definitely has a huge impact in our lives, and that's something that we should definitely, like, like always we mention, it's transferable. Like anything that you have in your life is transferable. A skill or diversity or anything, it gets transferred from different sectors of your life. So whether it's finance, whether it's your personal growth, or whether it is, and even fitness, like you need to have a diverse kind of workout, or diverse, like something that you talk about in that previous episode, like the diet, the exercise, the cardio, and the sleep. Like that's something that you need in order to kind of reach your goal, your fitness goal. So it's transferable in every single aspect. So that's why it's very important, in my opinion. But yeah, I
That's
think
it. I think that's about covers it, man.
yeah, I think we can wrap it up with that. Well,
Shorter episode. One for the book, so that was a good one.
Sure, but it was a really good one. And without further ado, I will see you when I see you. Peace out.
So.
What the is we doing?